You may be a simple comic artist, but your comics have caught the attention of people all over the world. People are telling you to go and surrender yourself, and some are even saying that the government should investigate your family. Actually, you are not from this world at all, you came here from some other world, you did not get any special power upon coming, and this world is also almost the same as your previous world. There was only one difference: when I saw the people here talking about supernatural creatures, that I came to know what is the matter. In fact, a great archaeologist, Professor Jiang, was excavating an old grave in Nanning with his team. This time he worked through the live stream, so that people understand archaeology. And then what? People dug out your comic, saw that it was exactly the same. Daughter-in-law, that was enough. People declared you a tom robber and asked you to surrender. Hearing this, your heart sank. I have become a comic. The people of the livestream got a little confused, and the confirming voices became less. You took a sigh of relief. This too, the digging of the stone went ahead. It was as if the live stream, the magic worked. The count of viewers crossed 1 million. But the flames started rising like today, and it got burnt. The rest of the fireflies formed a light V and ran towards the entire team. Stay away from these insects. Some soldiers took out guns and fired, but bullets were useless in front of so many insects. Look at Q's comments. Surprise was clear in the voice of Assistant Xiao Chun. Bars of comments were coming on the screen, and everyone was writing. Just 4 words. Dappa Ghost left. Hey, just now Qin Fing was saying that there is nothing like that. What did it turn out to be? It has nothing to do with it. This is not my Dappa Ghost left. It is some other species. The size is also different. Trust me, the professor saw your comment in the livestream. He was an educated and rational person. This Quincy professor started comparing him with the real creature. Suddenly he lost his hand. The assistant zoomed the camera on his face. The professor's expression of shock and confusion was visible on the entire livestream. Look, professor, if you are a professor, then tell me, is there any other Tom? I have heard you should give it to the government. That's it. Oh, you get money, surrender. Your mind got confused. At the same time, big media channels also started writing. Qin Feng, we used to work with imagination. There was only one word in the comments after the letter, no. At night, Professor Jiang, the world's top archaeologist, was walking in his office for hours. When he closed his eyes, the same scene of life steam came in front of him. Those green insects, those burning soldiers. Why just a little money? Had to earn. Really, if he had known earlier that it was real, he would never have made it. Everyone froze for a moment. He meant that he knew about the creature from somewhere. He just did not know whether it was real or not. Everyone had their ears raised. Xiao Wang and Xiao Chan took out the notebook. You saw that now I had to express. I used to keep looking at pictures and notes. I stayed from there. Whenever Uncle and Chan went somewhere. For many days, I used to stay at home. When I used to live, there were no comic books, so I used to keep flipping through the notes and pictures. Uncle used to say that all this is real, but neither the notes nor the pictures have said yet. The professor immediately got upset. If it is true, then maybe there is some way to deal with the Dappa ghost worm. It can also be the measurement of the entire ampere tom. Some uncle used instead of toilet paper. Some things will have to be tutored? The professor got a little irritated. He said that his uncle was Tom Robert, a blind friend, and on the death of his uncle, red hair had appeared on his body. The professor lit a cigarette. There were many Tom Roberts and more impossibility. The professor slowly smoked. Dappa Ghost of the comic is the most coincidental, but while leaving, the professor saw your latest comic drawings on the wall. His eyes narrowed a little. Rookie, but if I actually go, I will actually become a room robber, and Dappa Ghost Room, they really burn. There are more dangerous creatures in comics. If they also write, Professor Saheb, I am very tired, need rest, and that is why I am being given the first mission. Participate in Emperor Tom, collect livestream views. Views will give energy, energy will the next reward will be unlocked. You were left alone. There was a new inventory in my mind. Yes. Can I join from tomorrow? And anyway, my comic is also getting free publicity on livestream. Yes, there was no reason to refuse. After all, the greater the power, the greater the responsibility. So I said yes. There must be some deal behind online tomb row. People were laughing. A debate was going on. If I were really a tomb robber, then I would eat the food. You were talking nonsense again. People were so interested in this topic that this debate continued for several days. Then someone took note of both the port and the opposition. But everyone's eyes were on the second visit to be held after 3 days. Whatever was to happen would be known only then. After 3 days, the whole atmosphere in Nanning had changed. There were common soldiers everywhere. On one side, spies coming from outside, top archaeologists of the country. All of them were academic legends. All had signed date waivers, had written letters to the housekeepers. All were ready. But the operation had not started, because one person was waiting, a car. One of them. I am not really a room robber. You all will do the work. I will just contribute as much as I can, a small effort from a junior citizen. You waved your hands, the world's top professors were waiting for you, here you were, dozens of soldiers were standing in line, 2 companies away and were on standby. Germany's detection act is ready, yes sir, measurement devices are calibrated. Done twice, Professor Chikia, look at the entire list. You have to wake up wisely, be prepared for Dappa ghostworms and further dangers. There may be a need for sacrifice, but I am confident that we will win. This time we have to eliminate these worms at any cost. Whatever is left after that, I will not go to the tomb robber. I was saying 3 days ago, and look, the tomb robber thing is completely different, Professor. Jianhua, the professor listened, turned and immediately took me, looked, the professor also agreed, admitted, read, no wonder Dappa Ghost left was so accurate. The views of the live string started increasing, the system notified, live string heat increase, 12 points earned, current balance, 12 points, you saw the points, explained the pattern, 1 point per minute for every million views. If there are 10 million views, then 10 points every minute. Recently there were a few million views, China. Phone sir, the audience is very enthusiastic. You are a comic artist. It is the teacher, create an atmosphere by saying something. You picked up the mic, the guys have just entered the room, till now no Dappa Ghost has been seen in the room. Let me tell you a little about them, their history is quite interesting. This technology was probably 1,000 years ago during the time of Han Dynasty, even today it is a mystery for science. The live stream burst, such an advanced technology 2,000 years ago, our ancestors had done this before the West. I am feeling proud. Man, I became emotional, that's why my eyes got heavy. Wait, it was not the professor, the team thing said, yes man, how to tell this much to the comic artist, exposed, trend, then all of you came in front of the same painting wall, Dappa ghostworms were just visible, there was darkness all around, I told you softly in the mic, Lapai is inside itself, the audience held their breath. Now an attempt will be made to eliminate Dappa ghostworms with flamethrowers, explained to you, but personally. Take me here, you had suppressed your voice. But everyone heard in Tom's silence. Professor Jiang looked at the cult. You are speaking the truth. Entomologist Professor Shangwar also put his hand on his forehead. Theoretically possible, but actually how effective it will be, can't say. Dappa ghostworms are unknown, used to bring margin of error. Their cocoon jars were first buried in the ground. Workers were told that these are golden gems. Workers they used to make a tom and lock it inside. They would die of hunger. Then the Dappa ghostworms that came out of the jar would make an underground tunnel and reach the bodies, that would be their first meal. So if my guess is correct, then it was an ancient script. Professor Jiang Dode came, his hands were on the throne, he picked up the tile very lovingly. This is the script of Han Dynasty's South Jiang Kingdom. I have read thousands of texts, mention of South Jiang is only in a few misleading notes. It seemed like a legend, the professor was speaking to himself, everyone looked at you, how does this person know it? Come on the live stream 676 times, now I will wake up the tomb robber who doesn't speak. Chen Feng, you have the right to silence, but whatever you say will be used in the court, as if you were holding it down, your words are lost in Professor Zhang's mind. He started hesitating. Xiao Chun, why were you talking about using low temperature instead of flamethrower? Professor Shangwan, who was a famous entomologist, after 3 days of research, he did several days of research with experts. Dappa ghostworms have a natural reaction to fire, insects have an inherent fear of fire, on this basis we took the risk of flamethrower, despite the damage to the tune, and you will talk about it later. You are ignoring everything. Do you actually know Dappa ghostworms? If it goes wrong, how many people would have died? I liked Professor Shangwan. Now let's see how Anfeng responds. You hesitated a bit, but said seriously, Professor Shangwan is absolutely right that Dappa ghostworms are temperature sensitive, but as soon as there is fire, they will become aggressive, and this is more in my opinion, at low temperature. They are safe, and at the same time the artifacts will also be protected. Then you remembered one more thing, and one more thing. Dappa ghostworms are naturally heat sensitive. Look, you took out the lighter from your pocket and lit it. In the same second thousands of green lights will come on in the entire cave. Dappa ghostworms moved together. There was no sound of their wings. The green lights were extinguished. Dappa ghostworms became silent. Not only them, the whole town became quiet. Life stream comments that came out. Professor Shangwan's eyes were wide open. He was looking at the lighter in disbelief. Everyone else's expression was also in shock. Where there were similar creatures, and in that novel, the hero had also killed them with low temperature. You thought if the appearance and behavior are the same, then the weakness would also be the same, and seeing the result as all a stunt, there was a pin drop in silence on the live stream which started from the professor's question to lighting the lighter and explaining to him till what happened, all that was recorded, or search their secrets, you will find the antics. Professor Zhang heard everything. It took a long time for his shock to settle. He immediately went to the side with Professor Yang and Professor Shangwan. The amount of knowledge this child has about Dappa ghostworms is beyond our imagination. Not only the rants, the behavior, everyone is a beginner, and this is actually an expert. Professor Yang nodded in agreement. All three voted. Plan change. New plan based on your suggestion. Professor Jiang immediately sent a request for cooling equipment. Within half an hour a team brought high-pressure liquid nitrogen sprayers. Their temperature is minus 120 degrees Celsius, as deadly as a flamethrower in direct contact. Soldiers set up the equipment and sprayed inside. The breath went off. Here. So that strange smell also started wafting. Everyone stopped breathing, not even one of the Dapo ghost worms stood up. It was as if they were inviting it, and then there was no movement. Professor Jiang kept looking at the scientific instruments. Reading shows that there was no living organism left in the tomb. Professor, this is a comic artist, I will wake him up. You saw the comment and said, guys, I only knew a little about this history. I have never done Tom Rob, have never done any illegal work. This is my first time. This is the first time that I have seen Dapo Ghostworm with my own eyes. Seriously, I swear, there was only one line in the comments, so I was scared. They had now become history. No one had thought that such a dangerous challenge would end so easily. Livestream comments were filled. When a real tomb robber comes in the field, it is different. World-level experts did not know, but he had already made a plan. This is an old rivalry. Anki, catch him and torture him, and more. The gate in the tombs finally opened, the inside view was revealed, a long CD was going downwards, everyone kept walking on the same, about 10 to 15 minutes, man, this is very deep, it seems to be 1 kilometer below the ground, yes, it is underground, people of thousands of years ago were also amazing. Did anyone ask in the livestream, what style is this? You asked smilingly on the camera, comments came on the livestream, Tom Robber, you don't know the style, you are such a dashing Tom Robber, this must be a game of hands, do a drama band, you yourself. The height of the wall from the ground was more than 10 meters, the bricks of the wall were of red and green mixed color, many of them had sod marks, and in the middle of the wall, there was a big flower in the middle, below that there was an inch. The bronze coffin, the vines of that flower were spread everywhere, some had even climbed up to the wall. When the light fell on the faces of the soldiers, everyone stood in Rome with a sigh. The professors shone the light on that flower. It was so bright that it could not blossom in a tree. It was as tall as a human being. Trumpet-shaped petals were as big as the size of the head. The professors looked at you with determination in Yang. This is probably the Nyang boundary flower. They say that it is only there. It blooms where extreme yin and extreme yang have come together. Tomhari is the only flower, but normally it is of palm size. It is black and white. It is very red and big. You were also confused. Professors and viewers were all interested. This flower was thousands of years old in Tom. This flower was not only alive but was blooming. A strange miracle of maturity. Then someone noticed that wherever you looked in the light, everyone saw that the stem of that flower was something like a coffin. This flower was absorbing a rhythmic movement. This flower was taking nutrients from the coffin. The professors were looking at the flower in astonishment. Then someone noticed that the expressions of the soldiers standing on the wall were changing. Earlier they were expressionistic. Now their faces were getting distorted. There is something in this coffin. The professors have seen the intricate carvings of the coffin and understood that this is not ordinary. The survival of this flower for so many years is probably due to this coffin. It was worth it. So he started speaking again. From the layout of the four sides, it seems that this coffin is a Gen Hon Gawan. In ancient wars, sometimes the main commander used to fight in front of the coffin. This was a signal that if he did not win, he would go into the coffin. The poet here, who is in this coffin, was a commander who was defeated in the war. The emperor had kept him here to protect his soul tomb. The only regret is that Yin Yang disturbed him in the boundary flower, archaeologist and paleontologist. Hearing this, he was shocked. He had never heard about such old and rare historical records, and the biggest question was, how did he know this? Only then did the flower slowly open its big strange pit. Professor, before going near him you said loudly, wait, there is danger. The expression of team leader Professor Jian changed. Everyone remained alert, there could be danger. Someone laughed in the live stream. The professor heard the name of Qin Feng and accepted it without thinking. The professor clearly trusts Qin Feng's tome robbing experience. But I think it has been confirmed in the professor's mind that this is a tome robber. The entire tome became completely silent. The guard remained at his post, everyone else's eyes were on you. You became a little awkward and said softly, "Guys, don't look like this, I was just telling the truth. It is important to be supportive. Yes, we are in you, anything can happen here and this flower clearly does not look normal." You pointed further and said, "I only knew about the dacoit ghost worms, but I don't really know." Professor Jiang took a sigh of relief. After listening to you, he turned off his curiosity mode and ordered the soldiers to be extra careful. Observe first, don't go close. You saw the live stream comments, everyone was saying do drama bang, tell me what you know. You said, "Guys, I am the truth. I am just a comic artist, I have not seen all this, it just felt something similar." The truth was that in a novel of my past life, there was mention of Yin Yang boundary flower. This flower, along with Shixiang Moyu, Underworld Ming flower and Yellow Spring Lotus, were called 4 great ghost flowers. They specifically grow in tombs, they have serious killing power and also a terrifying hallucinogenic effect. There was a scene in the novel where the hero and his friends were trapped in a battlefield hallucination due to this flower, when they lost consciousness. When he came, he himself had killed all his friends. It was a very horrifying scene and after their deaths, those bodies became food for this flower. This was the real danger of Miang boundary flower. In the livestream, people were clearly not believing in you. You are still hiding the tomb robber identity. You are like a star. No matter how much you hide, talent is visible. Why did the professor alert everyone on one thing of Qin Feng? It is obvious, but the professor knows how deep his tomb experience is, this is the world. But Qin Feng himself believes that Tum is not a robber. People were discussing all this when suddenly something happened. The professor called the soldiers. Had asked to avoid the arrow, stuck behind it but could not do anything. Suddenly loud cutting sounds came, save, but it was too late. Many arrows came out rapidly. By the time people understood, many people had become peers and the most horrifying thing was that there were thin wires behind the arrows. As if those people were dead, their bodies were pulled with a jerk and it went into the mouth of Nyang boundary flower. A disgusting chewing sound came along with an eerie screeching which was mockery. It seemed as if you were quiet on the livestream and said that a tragedy has happened. We have lost 6 soldiers. This plant can release arrows. This is clearly not the yang flower that I knew about. It only gives hallucinations but it is much more dangerous than that. However, if I am right then the reason for attacking it is light. Professors also listen to you. Light. Yes, the thing which is always in the dark will have extreme sensitivity to light and the intensity of our floodlights is millions of this is almost like sunlight for the plant. Paleontologist Professor Yang hit his forehead and got excited. Floodlights, we probably woke up this 2,000-year-old plant with our light. Everyone had the same feeling again. Qin Feng then gave the idea to the professor. Professor Jiang himself wore night vision goggles and said on the radio everyone should wear night vision equipment. Turn off the lights. All 3 big floodlights were turned off. Night vision was activated. The entire tomb was pitch black but live streamed there was night vision in the camera so everything was being recorded. There was complete silence in the tomb. No one had the courage to walk. The professor gave you a grateful look and started taking data. The soldiers had their guns ready. Everyone was tense. In this dangerous situation, you were the only one who was moving. You both pulled the assistants. Let's go in that direction. The shooting angle is better than that of Maha. Assistant Shelching was stopped. Sir API had said, Tom, do not move randomly, there is danger in every place, relax. I am almost sure that this is Yin Yam. There is a boundary flower, there are no lights, we are safe from this distance, trust me and you take the camera and go to the other side, everyone else. The mother-in-law turned to live stream comments. Real expert is absolutely useful. It's not the first time to meet him. I told the name at a glance. It's clearly an old acquaintance of Qin Feng. His comic is actually his autobiography. Go out of the tome and update the new chapter. Are you any teacher out of the knowledge of Qin Feng? If you had spoken a little earlier, perhaps those 6 soldiers would have been saved. Friend, he spun first. Let him check. You are sitting at the keyboard. He is in the tome. You saw that some people were also defending. My heart became a little warm, but again I said clearly, guys, I am not a tomb robber, I just have a little interest in this topic. The history of Yin Yang Boundary Flower is older than Dapo Ghostworm. This is almost a legend level thing. Its growth and survival is the most scary quality. It can survive even for thousands of years. It also has the ability to attack. This tomb owner had kept it for guard, and if I am right, then this is the entrance of Jaga tomb. This flower is the gatekeeper of this place, I hope. That this is the only threat. If its weakness is found, it will be solved, but the fear is that there may be more dangers, so I said softly. When you were speaking, everyone stopped their work and listened. Professor Yang said softly to Professor Jiang, I have grown many rare books like Shanhai Jing, but I have never heard this knowledge. Where does Qin Fong know this? Professor Jiang was also equally confused. After the Dapa Ghostworms, he thought that China Fong's work was over. That's why even doing live stream commentary, but this new strange creature appeared and he was explaining again, and what he was telling was also logical. Even you had mentioned the archaeology purpose of Professor Jiang without knowing, so I myself did not know that everyone's attention is slowly shifting on you, you kept on commenting. The danger I am feeling is not an exaggeration. If there is a main tom ahead, then there will not be only this flower at the gate. Have you heard the story of Wang Zong Jibe? If I had there been a tomb and someone was reaching near my main tomb, my first priority would have been to keep someone alive. Don't leave this boundary flower alone, he can't do it alone, so just look at the soldier statues of the city wall. In the beginning, their faces were neutral, now their expressions have become mocking and also have a killing intent. And if you are in the room, you notice that the air around you is slowly getting cold. Some people say it is like a ghost, some call it the sound of death. Your voice was low, but everyone heard it. Professor Yang and Professor Jiang felt the air really strange. It was deep cold. Everyone unknowingly looked towards the soldier statues on the wall. The live stream viewers also froze. It was visible in the video that the expressions of the statues were different, some distorted, some fierce, some mocking. The expression of each statue was unique, but everyone's lips were turned to one side as if laughing at everyone. Look, the second row, 6th statue just smiled after seeing me. Look, the 3rd row stood on my ROM. Look, my phone saved me from falling, these faces are changing. Yes, is he alive? Flabel can survive in Tome also, but through which siege will the statue survive? Qin Fong, please explain quickly, what is the danger ahead? Are these statues or something else? The viewers started discussing. The statues had weapons, but the tome was big. It seemed difficult to kill everyone, but the chain find had said that everyone could be killed. Then suddenly someone said on the livestream, zoom the walls 50x and see. Some sharp-eyed viewers zoomed the image. The cracks in the wall were filled with black arrows. There was a hole in the gap between each brick. So many arrows could not be counted. If all these mixed together, no one could escape. Then you said, listen carefully. There is a different sound in the air. This is the friction sound of some mechanism being activated. Statues cannot kill themselves. These young flowers cannot handle everyone alone, so what is the trigger? The only explanation is that this entire tom is a mechanical trap city. People said in the livestream, this is not a comic artist but a professional tomb robber. No one can do such a precise analysis. If you explain yourself that he is not a tomb robber, then we will accept it. This is the meaning of professional. Qin Feng's tomb robbing and our hanging out are on the same level. You saw the comments and grabbed your head, brothers, become the tomb robber identity search. Then the trap was activated. The Bard of Arrows came to protect the professors. Since no one had come to the tom for 1,000 years, hence the arrows were moving slowly and not together. As soon as the trap was activated, the yin-yang boundary flower also shook and its vines which were hanging down all spread on the ground simultaneously. The vines were so long that they were reaching every corner of the tomb. 3 soldiers tried to fire simultaneously, but the steel-like vines pierced them. The situation became critical. The soldiers took out guns and shot, but the vines were like iron. Only a few leaves were broken by the bullet. All came into tactical formation. As soon as the command was given, the soldiers observed 3 by 3 formation while avoiding the arrows. Fire in every direction, fire in a dark tomb. These weapons looked like gunflames fireworks originally. Dappa was for ghostworms, but they were being used here. Professor Jiang said in a loud voice to retreat. Avoid danger. Professor pulled your hand. You were still looking at the comments. Professor was angry. China Feng thinks something. Professor, I too have seen this scene for the first time. You waved your hands and then became serious. This flower has to be finished quickly. Where there is a flower, that spot is safe. Everyone saw, in fact, there were arrows everywhere, not only around the flower, but at that moment in the tomb there were bullets, arrows, and there was smoke in the ancient tomb, a combination of modern weapons. Professor Yang's face was tense. Retreat, go into the passage, wait until the flowers and arrows stop, then they will come back. But as he said, someone accidentally triggered some mechanism, a heavy stone door fell, the ground shook with the bang, dust flew, the passage through which they had come was closed, many faces turned pale. Now there was no path, even the last path was closed. If the passage had been open, then there would have been back and forth. The supply kept coming, but now everything is cut off. The team is trapped. Professor Xander is ahead. Ahead is the rain of vines and arrows of these yang boundary flowers. There is no way, even the attack of going up does not seem more dangerous than this. This situation of cameras through tomb was spreading out. Everyone had thought that after Dappa ghostworms, the rest would be normal archaeology. Few had thought that this situation would come, and with time the flower was becoming aggressive, the arrows were becoming dense, some people had been injured by arrows, wines had become uncontrollable, attacks from all sides were becoming less, the soldiers were firing fire. But the thought of making an exit was that the flower would deplete the oxygen quickly if it was set on fire. Even if the flower did not attack, everyone would have died due to lack of oxygen. Situation is critical. You all have come from the crowd. Everyone come to me, as if there was some magic in your voice. Everyone got the direction. Professor Jian also immediately said, all come together. Keen Fame, do you have any idea you have faced like this before too? You became the eyes, but did not say anything. Dozens of people and millions of live stream viewers had their eyes on you. You slowly took out a brush from your pocket, an ancient-style calligraphy brush. As soon as that brush came out, all the vines of that aggressive young boundary flower immediately stopped. It was a divine brush, which was made from the bones of the beast king, the bones of which animal you yourself did not know, but it had terrifying power. You said softly, look at the brush, and raised the brush above the head. Your voice echoed in the tom. The next second flower started to move back, but the tom was not so big that the vines were like steel. It now, as if she had become dead, she fell on the ground. She was looking scared, she was shrinking, looking at the predator. Prez wanted to get fucked. The only sound in the entire room was the sound of Harry breathing. Professor Jiang pinched himself to check the priority. There are still wines here, pointed at a soldier. There were 2 particularly tough wines in a stone crack, which were moving slowly. Even under the brush, it was as slow as a snail. The earlier speed was not at all. People made the path, step back. You picked up the brush again, there was no ink in the brush, still these boundary flowers trembled and then slowly started dissolving. Finally a heap of black ash fell on the ground. Come to the zone, you shouted, where there was a flower. As soon as we reached there, there would have been a lot of arrows, but not even one came at that specific spot. The situation changed in a blink of an eye, safe from danger. What happened? This supernatural, special power from a brush. Is this a world novel type story? Can someone explain? Science cannot explain, supernatural seems more logical. Keen Fank was not afraid of this flower. She did not die from the bullet but from the dust. From the brush. Gone, understood why there was so much work in throwing these. Not a tomb robber, he is an immortal cultivator, not a simple tomb robber, belongs to the tomb robber family. World level tomb robber flower was completely gone, so you put the brush back. Saw the comments. Professors were also looking at you with different eyes. Now explain that, guys, I am an artist, it is absolutely normal to have a good brush, and let me say clearly, have I ever seen what just happened in a tomb was a coincidence? You became confident, sir, like Leia. I told you, what will you do now? But no one believed that it was magic. The flower did not die from the bird but turned to ash from the brush. We are not stupid. Professor Jiang looked at your movement of keeping the brush with shock. His worldview was based on decades of knowledge. Earlier, simple things could have been explained by experience, But this, superpower, immortal energy, a 2,000-year-old plant that turns directly into ash is unbelievable. Since the live stream was going on, also watch the media. Just then everyone's phones buzzed with the sound of notifications. When everyone opened their phones, the same news appeared on every news app. A boy saved the teen trapped in underground ideology with a brush. Shocking, comic artist's brush defeated a 1,000-year-old creature. Live stream worth millions, what is the truth of world-level professors? Trapped underground, a young man took out a brush. No weapon was heard, divine power or magic. A brush destroyed a 2,000-year-old creature, the rescue team. Saved, every headline was pointing towards you. With this one action the whole world is gone, all the live stream traffic is suffocating my son. I was looking at him while batting, I thought, what is happening? Now I too am on his knees. He is not a human being, you are not a grabber, he is immortal. Someone give him his comic, not double, I will give him 10 times the price, all sold out online, not even pirated copies are available. I am trying the pose in the comic, today I will keep communicating, I am not the only one who is doing the same, Professor Giant said to the assistant, go back and chin. Bring all things comics, looks like I will have to read a lot. Sir, you have outwitted me, you are treating my comic like a textbook. Professor Giant pulled you aside. Shachin, tell me the truth, some of me have serious background, some have special experience, I promise, I will not report. You became helpless, only then you remained silent. Professor Shangwen said, I used to believe in science, seeing happy comments in the live stream. Keen's form was declining and should be. Professor Shangwan has not said much, there was nothing supernatural, it was just a biochemical technique, you explained, everything has a weakness, I just luckily knew the weakness of both Dappa Ghostworm and Yin Yang Boundary Flower, and both of them were found here, now I have nothing else, the further work is really yours, and anyway it is more important than thinking that from here how to get out, that the talk of these fans brought everyone to reality. The problem of Yin Yang Boundary Flower was solved, but everyone was still trapped inside. Soldier Captain came, face was serious, he gave a device to Professor Jian, which had a report, Professor, there is a bad news, our back route is completely blocked, they cannot blast the door, if blasted, there will be a massive collapse, we will all be buried alive, and I found some alternative path, we are probably right here. They will remain trapped. With every line of Soldier Captain, people's hearts started sinking, despair on every face, this was the real trap, soil quality was so bad that the digging equipment would collapse. In Tom's special structure, collapse was guaranteed on vibration more than 260 millimeters. Ground rescue team came to know that, big the rocks have closed the road, supplies cannot be sought, no medical aid, no food, oxygen in the air is so low that no more than 20 art will last. Professor Jiang read the report, his face became pale with every line, finally his hands were trembling, soldiers handled him, everyone's eyes were on the professor, there was only gravity and helplessness on his face, panic started spreading, the professor returned the device with trembling hands, under them he himself was breathing. He took out the device, breathed heavily, as if this was the only thing he could do. After a few minutes the professor slowly looked at everyone, he has to tell everyone an important thing, be prepared, the rescue team has come out. But they realized that it is not just the door behind us, there is a stone door every few meters on the entire route, even if we work non-stop, it will take a week, there is no blast option. Tom's structure is such that everyone will be buried by the blast, this one week will be the most difficult. And we have supplies for a few hours, maybe not even that much, the rest are now conscious. Complete silence, the professor's words have pronounced everyone's death sentence. This is the message that got out through the live stream, the hearts of the viewers sank. What will happen now? No supply, no way, there was a plan to come back today itself, there was less food, weapons less, no oxygen too, it is impossible to wait the day together. Someone think of something, pray for them, Professor Jian. With a serious face he asked everyone to huddle, right now someone is in fatal danger, sit down, rest, save energy, count your food and water, do not waste, save weapons and ammunition, use them carefully in the future, there is no exit in an underground tomb, my heart wants to have an exit, but my mind says that it is very difficult, in my estimation we will probably not survive the day, so be positive in this last moment, say whatever is in your mind, those who if you want to talk to your family members in front of the camera, they can do so, this will be the last meeting through livestream, it is an honor for me to go on the last journey with all these fearless heroes, thank you everyone. Professor Jianwold was a class polar, but not a survival expert, in this situation so much saying what was the limit of a normal person. Other people were coming to the live stream with the news outside, now a few dozen people trapped in the room were in the eyes of the whole world, the shadow of death was everywhere, the camera turned to each face and saw, last salute to you, everyone was talking to their loved ones, the voices were hoarse, many cried, the atmosphere was so heavy that the live stream viewers were also crying. Find some other way. Did not see the report, Professor. Checked everything, the door will not open, I cannot see such things in this darkness, eyes filled with tears, there is no way in the search, drill or bomb, the professor said, the structure of Tom is so special, that due to big vibration more traps will be activated, you will not even get a chance to live, I was watching from the beginning, such a long journey did not want this ending, this is not real, doctor come out, this script is not needed, there was grief in the light stream, does anyone ever remember China Fong? Come, wait, or is Qian Feng, let him speak, yes, he probably has a way, he even killed Yin Yang boundary flower, speak Qian Feng, if you don't speak now, everyone will be confused, then the tomb robber's identity will not be revealed, if he is ever caught, we will file a petition to reduce the sentence, the camera assistant intelligently turned the lens towards Qian Feng, and at this moment Qian Feng was looking at the city wall of Tum, a slight smile on his face, because he had not got a single skill yet. That smile was clearly seen on the livestream, seen by millions of views. Listen guys, yes the situation is bad, the ammunition is about to end, the road is closed, everything is down, but those who have read my comic know, the bigger the crisis, the more it is necessary to remain steadfast, sitting here slowly. It is better to try than to die, a new path is found only after going to the end, doing nothing is the biggest danger, he personally feels that there are other paths in this Tom, do not panic too much, this Tom we have not yet explored completely. As soon as this arrow subsides a little, I go over the city wall and look, no Tom stops in the middle, either there is a path or there are other paths, your voice was loud, but everyone nearby heard, hope, the lost soldiers and archaeologists raised their heads, brought Professor Jian some humility, he gave you a grateful look, stood up and said, Xiao China is right, I was naive, losing hope in you is the biggest mistake, this is my first experience, Qin Feng has so much experience and knowledge, if that is the job, then there must be a way, the professor's words shocked everyone, if Qin Feng is so relaxed. Hi, Underground Tumhans has so much experience, don't panic, meaning this is not a dead end, this person has gone into so many Tumhans, that this situation also seems easy, for Qin Feng it is like home in Tumhans, I cried in the decor, the mood shifted in the light stream, just now looked at the face of Qin Feng, clearly he has a plan, Tom Robber feels at home in Tom absolutely it's normal, he should not be called Tom Robber but Tom Master, he has faced such big scenes, that's why he has this job, if China Feng had been alone, he would have escaped by now, looking at this, it seems, this is not Tom Robber, Tom is a legend, seriously, if Qian Feng was not in this team, then everyone would have gone, it seems while he was there is some chance, yes, like a hero comes in a horror movie, and everything is fine, live. Discussion changed in the stream, instead of fear, it is now a matter of safety, Professor Jian said, earlier I had in my mind that if there was really no option, then I would have blasted all around and looked for a secret entrance, but Wing Ching has made a trap, it means there is some design, and Xiao Qing said, this is not Dadan, so this time China Feng, tell me, what should we do? China Feng was a marginal commentator for a long time, now suddenly had become the most important person of this team, the professor looked at you said, I don't know when these anger will stop, but I think I can find the mechanism of the trap, and close it, let's go to the top of the city wall and see, we can find something unexpected, everyone got energy again, but after 20 minutes the anger did not subside, everyone felt anxious again, then you Heisai's, and in a few seconds, passing through the roses, walked towards the city wall, that moment everyone's senses were blown away, Xiao China wait, Professor Zhang's heart stopped, one of the arrows was coming towards China Feng's eyebrows, the arrows were slow, but still deadly, the professor's voice had not even come out, that China Feng's leg moved aside, that deadly arrow touched his hair and passed, the live stream viewer jumped out and started to escape, it was too close, but China Feng was walking as if he already knew the arrow, every step was perfect. Did not touch even a single person all the way, but there were times of laughter in the live stream, the professors themselves are saying the same in private, practitioner versus scholar, Medea distinction, in the whole world, only Qin Feng himself believes that Tom is not a robber. His acting is so perfect that it looks cute, he is secretly guiding everyone to help, if Qin Feng was alone, then the room would already be empty, this meanwhile, Qin Feng reached the corner of the city wall. Turned around, looked back, seeing everyone's expressions he said, I think the mechanism is on the wall, I will go up, took out a rope, tied it to a heavy object on the wall, kicked the wall and climbed up quickly, smoother than the hero of a TV serial, the camera took a close-up, as soon as he reached the top, Kem Fing went straight to the corner, without saying anything. Tried a trick, pressed a specific brick with force, a hidden brick in the wall got activated, chain and mechanism sounds below, one after the other, the arrows slowly started decreasing, a huge door appeared below the city wall, which earlier looked exactly like the wall, same color, same texture. There was also a strange figurine on top, exactly matching the wall's masonry. The thickness of the door is at least 10 meters, even if you knock normally, but it is immovable. A cold wind came from inside the door, all involuntarily where. There was a barrage of comments in the live stream. Someone was saying that China Feng has come here first. As soon as he reached the city wall, he pressed the mechanism directly. He came out from between the arrows as if he was walking on the road. This is not the first time, this is in my Tom. Come, exposed, this acting is very good. I will crush you with your hands. Tom is a legend, he is protecting all the novices. Seriously, if I had handled this Tom alone, everything would have been done very well. Now in everyone's eyes, Qin Feng's image has completely changed. Someone had said earlier also, if Qin Feng had been alone then Tom and I would have been clear. Earlier there was no belief, now there is complete trust. The professors looked at Qin Feng with a strange look. You had this ability, so why did they show it first? Everyone was following you from the beginning. Professor Shangwan also said, when China Feng said that he has come here on a tour, then I thought it was not serious. Now it seems that my thinking was small. Everyone's expressions. There was a mix, hobby, disbelief, supreme laughter, was relaxed from the beginning, because already knew the mechanism, to hide the robber's identity, kept guiding stab by stab. No one will go to jail with this skill, Professor Jiang said. Shao China, the situation is tough. It is not tough for you, but it is for others. Now give full effort for everyone's ability, and if there is any trouble later, I will talk to you above. After listening to the professor, China Feng became very awkward. Actually a few days ago I had bought a book on feng shui, got interested in it, so read a bit. When I came here in the room, I felt something familiar, got an idea from that, and I was surprised that all the 8 points of the 8 trigrams are found in this room. This room and the 8 trigrams are exactly the same. Qin Feng explained, the life gate in the 8 trigrams is in the north, so I tried the north side and figured out a way to escape from the arrows from there. This did not stop me being Tom Robber. Qin Feng's work made everyone sharp in the matter. Such deep knowledge of 5 elements and 8 trigrams at such a young age sounds easy, but applying it practically is difficult even for decades-old masters, and Qin Feng did not just know, but applied live. Only then Professor Jiang wait, I also have some knowledge of 8 trigrams. When the arrows were moving, I quietly calculated that the arrows were moving in the 8 trigrams pattern, but according to the theory, the life gate is in the south, not in the north. Why did you choose north? Hearing the professor's words, there was a stir in Tom. Debate started in the live stream. Professor Jiang is also an amazing world-class archaeologist. No, there is no lack in ledge. Chung Feng is no less. Quoting everything so accurately is the sign of an expert. Clearly he is a tomb robber and is making the excuse of 8 trigrams to cover this topic. Professor has exposed it with real knowledge, but Team Paying had already noticed that Tom is in 8 trigrams pattern. It is a family tradition. Now I showed the conversation of both of them to my grandfather and he said that the level of both of them is very high, even more than them. Everyone's eyes fell on you in the tomb. After listening to the professor, you stopped for a second and then said, Professor, the trigrams you are using is later heaven trigrams, isn't it? Professor Jiang stopped for a moment. Later heaven? Yes, how do you know? That's why you felt live date in south. If you calculate from earlier heaven trigrams then you will get result like mine. I started explaining that it is said that Fushi, by sensing the energy of heaven and earth, made earlier heaven 64 trigrams by making stars and mountains as base, later simplified it and made earlier heaven 8 trigrams, but during the time of Xia dynasty, glaciers melted, sea level increased, environment changed, position of mountains and rivers shifted, earlier heaven 8 trigrams did not match with land. That's why in the dynasty King Wen made earlier heaven as the base and developed later heaven 8 trigrams, the shape of the earth changed but heaven did not change, hence earlier heaven 8 trigrams calculates heaven and later heaven earth. Ancient emperors considered themselves the zone of heaven, so naturally the layout of the tomb will be from earlier heaven 8 trigrams representing heaven and not from later heaven representing earth. But Professor, both of them are very advanced. You reaching later heaven is a big thing. I had studied for base comic. Honestly, so much hair was lost that the hairline went back 2 centimeters. King Feng smiled lightly and said, Professor Jiang once again left in a long silence. A live stream burst out behind, read 8 trigrams for the comic and went ahead of the professor. Professor level knowledge as a hobby. Tom Rover is a master. This is King Feng's signature comic. I will give double price. Anyone know their address? Anyone knows their address? Have to become a disciple. Police uncle, have to do a report. Professor Jiang thought for a long time. Then compared it with the book, got it earlier, Heaven 8 trigrams exactly right. Everyone started preparing to move forward due to China Feng's performance. The professors, naturally the door below the Wing Chang gate did not have much value in terms of archaeology, but the secret passage inside was very impressive. There was a long and dark corridor with wall paintings on all four walls.